Better putting. Is it even possible using something like that? Let's find out. Welcome back to McGolf Shop. Jim McCleary here, and this is McGolf Custom Clubs channel where we talk about golf club repairs, golf club fittings, golf club reviews, also that your scores can go low. If you would, somewhere down in here there is a subscribe area. Please hit the subscribe area and hit that bell so you can get all the notifications when we release new videos, or tell you about the live streams that we have on Mondays at 17:30 or 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And we talk about this same stuff live, and it's a really great discussion from across the world. So please join us there as well. All right, better putting. We all like to do better putting, right? And this is more about putter fitting, and a putter fitting, new putter fitting item for McGolf. And much like we have for Full Swing, we have launch monitors and test clubs and all that kind of stuff. And I have fought against this for quite some time, and I've just decided it's time to join the rest of the world in a little bit more digital application when it comes to putting. All right. Now, I have my own putter fitting system, and we will talk about putter fittings going forward in kind of a putter series that we're going to develop here. However, I wanted to introduce you to a new instrument that we will be using while we're doing putter fittings, and it is this guy. And it doesn't look like much. It's a plastic case, but it is the Capto Generation 2. I had the Generation 1. I did not use it very much. The information it collected was great. However, the setup just seemed kind of clunky, and I just really didn't like doing it. Now they've introduced a new battery, a new piece of internal equipment. We'll call it a chip. There's a new chip. Battery life is longer. The way you install it is 10 times easier, and setup is much more faster. So I'm going to use it, all right? And they've been upgrading their software to include more items, right? And the information that you can get can be staggering for a putt, right? For a putt. You know, my philosophy has always been, if it doesn't get in the hole, what good is all this stuff? And I'm pretty solid with that particular philosophy. However, this can narrow down your search very quickly. Very quickly. Very quick. Okay? And the Generation 2 has done some pretty impressive things. Number one, in the same package with more going on, they've lost 8 grams. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but 8 grams is pretty significant when you mount this guy on a putter. All right, number two, it has a screen. All right, it has a screen, and that screen you can see while you're putting, and it's very helpful. They've also added another mode where, you know, normally you might need an iPhone or iPad or even your computer in order to work the application and see what's going on. And so you can see what it looks like right here. There's what it looks like. See, there it is. And so when you have when you have the screen where you can see what you're seeing, and it can work by itself. And then what you can do is you connect this thing up to your computer, and it will download all that information so that you can see all of the parameters that it shows as opposed to just the 3 that it shows up on here. That's pretty impressive all by its lonesome. Now, what are some of the things that it tracks? It does all the standard stuff. It does line angle, face angle. It does. It has an arc. It has how the path swings. So it has how you swing the face doing this, the face doing this, the face doing this, you know, the shaft doing this. It talks about where you hit it on the club face, all those different things. And we're going to go over that here in just a moment. However, I just want to introduce you to it. It's called Capto, C-A-P-T-O, and they're out of Italy. And and they have a branch in the U.S., of course. But the information that you can glean from this is pretty impressive. Now, does it mean you have to do everything? And that's where a lot of people, a lot of fitters will get stuck, that you absolutely positively have to be in this particular range. just like full swings, right? When you do full swings, you see parameters like the angle of descent of the ball. You get the angle of attack of the club. You have the way that your club head path in your face. Now, we're all different and we all swing differently. And so what we do is we take that information and try and make you optimal at how you swing your putter or how you swing your full swing club. This is no different, all right? Yes, there are some optimal ranges that you can get into, which I like. They take the optimal. Now, do you have to get in every one? If you're making putts and you're hitting it, then there you go. You go, okay, Jim, that sounds like a whole lot of stuff for a swing coach to deal with. How do we do it for a fitter point of view? And that's a heck of a good question. What it is that once we see some of the things that you might be failing in, i.e. alignment, starting with the face open or closed, or way that you're swinging the putter, where that putter that you have may not fit the way that you swing your club, we can show you that now, right? And there's a lot going on. And so that we can take some of these parameters, maybe not all of them, and see what's going on. This thing also talks about stability. The stuff that's in here is just crazy good. And we can apply those different changes, and as long as the fitter knows what to do in those particular categories in order to optimize those particular ones, this can be quite the putter fitting tool, right? And they think the folks there are very, very friendly and they know what they're doing, especially JB. He is one of their main representatives, or at least was when I was going through it. It's a good tool. It just really is a good tool. So let's go check it out just so I can show you some of the stuff that we see. Once we get through the calibration process, which doesn't take very long whatsoever, it's about 4 planes worth of it, understanding where it's located on your putter. You can select yourself as a player, which I did right here, and then what you can do is go into your putters and you can add a putter in, which I've already done, and then we can go play. Now I've already done 10 shots with this, so now we can see the 16 different categories that Capto captures right here. Now there's way more behind it, but we'll see that here in a moment. So there's face, loft, lie, the angles as they relate to each other, track, arc, angles to the path and the arc, 3D motion, which is really cool, the launch, energy, sweet spot rotation, putter rail, which tells you how it's moving, the handling and trembling, which I think are very neat, acceleration, and then all in all, tempo. All right, so if we wanted to see, well, what were we doing to this? So if you see green, it means you're doing pretty good. If you're doing yellow, it means that you're not green, but you're not bad. And if you're red, it's time to time to look at that one pretty hard. So let's just take a look at face, for instance, and you click on it, and here's the graph that you get when you do this. Now, what you see the putter head. Now I'm a lefty, so you get to see this. So it takes the putter head back, and you see it start to open. And this is right at the end of the backswing. And it can tell you a lot what's going on with the backswing. And I am the blue where the green is optimal on this one. Then you start going back through, and then at impact, there we go, at impact, I'm a hair open, 0.3 degrees open. There we go. So I'm 0.3 degrees open. The optimal is obviously 0, and the difference is 0.3. So it's right here is what we're talking about. So that's what it is for the face angle. Now if I wanted to check out loft, here's what I'm doing with loft. And ideal is the green, where I am the blue. And again, if we look at this, we take the putter back. It de-lofts on the way back as usual. And then we come through. And right there is right at impact, and I've lofted in comparison to where I started. This is where I've added a less than a degree to it, so not too bad. Particularly when my putter loft is 3 degrees, it means I hit it with a 4, and that's some pretty useful information, particularly on the greens. Now here's the one I've got to work on with my lie angle. Again, this is what we're looking at for lie, and this is what I'm doing with the blue. And if we go back, all right, we take the club back, and I'm already starting a little up, and I take it back, and this is where I make the toe go up, which leads me to a closed face. Then we bring it back down, and we get to impact, and there's impact, and basically I come at a negative, so I'm coming down and through, and that's giving me face closure. All right, there's the angles as they relate to one another. That'll be when we get to this a little bit more. I'm just showing you some really quick and dirty stuff. This is kind of neat where you can see the putter come out. There's at the end of the putt, and bang, and then all the way through, and then this is what I do at that point. All right, if you wanted to just keep seeing it, you can play it over and over again. And this is me taking it back, and then what I do is I'm closing versus letting it swing through. All right, that's track. Now this is arc. Now this is what get a lot of people confused, but this is, you'll see it here in a minute. That's the arc. Okay, this is what I'm doing. So if we take it, this is the back at the transition, and basically when I hit at right here, we're looking at the beginning of the low spot, and then right there, I can get it to change color, right there. So right here is the 0-0 mark, all right, and this is where they're saying I was a little bit before it. So I got to look a little bit on that, which goes with the idea of how I was hitting it at a negative. Face to path, this is the path, so I'm a little bit open until I get down, and just like we said, just that 0.03 a little bit open. The 3D motion, this is kind of cool where you get to see how this would play, and this is, there we go, now it's backwards, bang. Okay, so what it's taking the club back, going through, hitting it. Now the thing that I take away from this is, if you look at what it's the whole putter, look at what the grip is doing as well. Okay, so that's the 3D motion. Now there's more that can go on in the 3D motion. You can get this guy going on, and again, we're doing this. And that's kind of useful, right? I like that. Then you have that particular plane. And out it goes. So I'm kind of I'm going through, I'm twisting closed. And then if we go back here, there we go with that one. And then here's one I think would be and that's the one that we saw beforehand. So there's a lot going on with that one. You can pick up a lot of information. The launch here, this is the one I like. It tells you over here on the left-hand side upper corner, just about from the absolute target where it's at, so I'm a little bit low in this one. My dynamic loft is like we thought about. I added that 0.9. The arc through impact, they talk about all that stuff. And it just gives us an idea of how this is working for us. Let's see. Alrighty, this is another one I think can be quite the useful tool in that the total energy balance. What this means is how far off of center were you? And in this one is 3.9%, so it's not a tremendous amount off, but I can show you one where I was. And so you got your arc through impact. The lever arm is telling us backspin energy loss is this, which is very, very small. The side spin is where I'm getting hit at, but 3%, which means I hit it pretty close to the center of the face. However, this one I did not, as you can see, where I'm almost 10%. So this is all be related to where you hit it on the club, if you turned your club one way or another. Different ideas on this one. It's pretty good stuff. And then the sweet spot rotation, this one's awful. This is where you want to be inside this circle, and I'm not, but I am on this one. So it just tells you this was just an awful putt, and it was. I missed the target, where this one was a good putt, and I actually made the putt from that one. Putter rail is about force going along the axis, best I can figure on this one. This one's a new one, so I have to look this one up a little bit more. Handling, this is the one I really wanted to show you. So this one talks to about how confident your putting stroke can possibly be. If you look, the gold, if you see these little light ones, means I was stressing it just a little bit, and then right at the very end is where it hits. So if we look at it, and there was the, oh, you see how I was kind of gripping on it a little bit? And then I was gripping on it the other hand. And then there's the other one, is making the transition. And then just before impact, I do that. And I've done that quite a few times. Now, if I go back to the other putt, and you see how, you remember how bad this putt was. It started off poor, got even worse going this way, and then we hit it, and it's just telling me where I'm at. So I'm right at the very back. So what am I doing at these particular points in the putt in order to do that so I can eliminate it? That's what we're talking about. And trembling, this is a very good one for that. And there's the better putter, so you don't see a whole lot of points again. And if we walk through this one, see that? And this is basically what we can do, is use both of those to see if we're grabbing the putter well or not. And then there's the acceleration. This is the ideal, where this is what I'm actually doing. So there, what I'm telling you, and tempo, this is one of my faves right here. This is ideal, where your time, and a lot of it's kind of based on you as well after it reads some other ideas, but 2.0 is the typical idea. These are the BPMs, beat per minute. All right, and this was what I did on the very last putt, and then the one before it, which was horrible as far as the way I executed it. And then there's another one that's off, but it's not as bad as one would think. So there's a lot of information to be gleaned from this, right? And it's all of these. Now, inside there, there's all kinds of charts. There's all kinds of stuff to be done. And it's a lot to take in. And normally what we do is we'll set it up to where you see the face, the loft, the lie, and quite possibly the tempo at first. And then that way you can, not shock the golfer at all the information that's in there, and then go back in there and look. So this is just an opening to let you know all the information that the Capto can use in order to fit, do better at putting, the whole 9 yards. So let's go back and talk about it some more. Okay, so as you saw, there is a lot of information that is gathered by just in one stroke, right? In just one stroke. In about 10 strokes, you can have all these informations, and you can get a chart of how it works out and see averages. And that is pretty impressive stuff. Now, the average golfer can get totally, completely overwhelmed by, there's like the initial 16 blocks that you can look at. However, there's closer to 32 different things when you break each one of those blocks down into different categories that they can do. That's far too much information for anybody. But it's great to, if you have time to sit back and look and really analyze it, it's really, really good stuff. However, you can take the 12 blocks, make it down into 4, get into that stuff, and then once you get things figured out, then go back and see whether or not you've made improvements. Again, if the ball needs to be going in the hole. So it's pretty impressive stuff. And I join you to watch this as we do some more of these putter fittings, because we're going to do putter reviews using this as a guide to help us going on. And we'll probably be doing some putter fittings as well. So stay tuned. Look up some more of the putter stuff. If you got any questions on putter fittings or how something like this will work, put them in the show notes below. Subscribe again, hit that bell, and watch us on the YouTube as far as live stream goes on Mondays if you've got the time. And as always, let's see your scores go low.